All right, guys, here is part 2.
They were filled, and sent my mother away and said, try us in 2 weeks. And my mother said, I cannot wait 2 weeks to get you out of my house. You have to go now. Sent me to live with my father. So I walk into my father's house, pregnant. He hasn't seen me in years, so he doesn't know. So I'm wearing big sweaters and coats and covering myself. He gives me the rules of the house when I arrive. And the rules are, you do as I say. There's a curfew. You don't match the curfew, I will put you out. And I believed him. He says to me, the worst thing you could ever do is bring shame on this family. And any daughter of mine that ever became pregnant, I would rather see her dead, floating down the Cumberland River, than to bring shame on this family. And he's saying this to me as I know I am pregnant. So I am thinking, how can I kill myself before this happens? I did all kinds of crazy things like drinking bleach and trying to fall downstairs and all that stuff. My legs started to swell. I got sent to the pediatrician, and I'm sitting in the pediatrician's office, and the pediatrician obviously knows that I'm pregnant, but I'd hidden it successfully for 4 or 5 months from my father. And the pediatrician says, either this is the biggest tumor I've ever seen, or you're pregnant, and you've got to tell me, because if I send you up to be x-rays, it's going to hurt this baby. And I broke down in the pediatrician's office. As it turned out, the baby, who was a boy, did not live. And probably a week after I gave birth, I was back in school. I never felt any connection whatsoever to the child that I carried or gave birth to. And I later heard that my mother hid me. And what was so odd is that 14 years later, I did the same thing. And I know what that means. I know why my mother and I have always had such a disconnection, because I understand what it means to carry a life inside you and have no connection to that life inside you, to be ashamed that you are carrying that life inside you. So that really allowed me to have a lot of empathy to people who were born unwanted.